let's do a demo now on the Python snippets. So let's go ahead and open up. We'll go to our folders. Here's our Python snippets. You can see that our kernel is Python. What I want to do now using these Python snippets is create a project. So you saw the project table before, and we're going to insert a row into that table, and we're going to use this Python snippet. So I'm going to pretend that that wasn't there. I'll put Saturday Night SQL on the clipboard. And so what I want to do is create a project. I can literally just type in create project, and you can see that pops up. Now this is a Python snippet instead of SQL, but the concept is the same. So it popped up now, and it's using the parameter setting where I can now paste in the name of the project that I want to create. And framework logging, we have a framework that goes with this. So you could have alerts, you could have no framework, you can have logging of row counts and start and end times, etc. So if I run this snippet, now you can see what it's done is it's created a project, and it's 1002. It's called Saturday Night SQL. And it has also displayed the existing projects, and we saw all these just a minute ago. It also updated an HTML file for us. So one of the things, if you're working via snippets and you don't have the front end, it's nice to have the perspective of what you've just done. And so we actually have that placed in an HTML document. So you can go back to the command palette and open the HTML report, and that would be run off of that. And so now you can see the projects, and here it is, Saturday Night SQL, what we just created. So it gives you a little bit, some creature comforts, because whenever you do something in a snippet or a command, you'd like to see the results. So it's one of the ways that you can give immediate feedback when you're not using a form. Now we do have a form example. I will show that shortly, but this is another potential approach to that issue. All right, well, what if I want a connection? Well, I can create a connection using this snippet here, which is create the connection. I'm going to create it. The connection name will be Saturday Night SQL. It'll be localhost back to the same database. That database itself, which I actually don't have here. I'm going to go ahead and just go to that local host, and we'll pick Saturday Night SQL. Should be there somewhere. There we go. I'll also use it as a friendly name, and I'll put it under local. There we go. Okay, so I have one table there. All right, let's go back. Here's my provider. This is the project I want it to go into, and there is no custom connect string. So I can go ahead and run that snippet, and now it shows that it created Saturday Night SQL. I could go into the HTML document again, it refreshed that, or I could go into the front end itself. There we go. And as far as the connection, you can see it also placed that connection in. So it's the same functionality from the front end, but in order to get there, we're using Azure Data Studio and these Python snippets. So now I'm going to create a package, and I'm actually, when I was testing this earlier today, I found a bug in it. So I'm just going to use the front end to pop this in. So just go ahead, I'm within Saturday Night SQL. I'm going to say package. I'm going to add a new execute SQL package. This is Saturday night example. I'm going to run this on the connection I just created for this database, Saturday Night SQL. I'll paste that in. It's not an expression. If I was using variables, I would make that an expression, and I can just click on save. And now I've got the package in there. In order to run this, I can pick up the command. That's all I need. I'll go back to Azure Data Studio. From the terminal window, I'll paste that in. Before we do that, we'll take a quick look. Okay, there's nothing in here. Go ahead and run that. Oops. So now it's going to run this project. It's going to write Saturday night example, and we're done. So now if I rerun this query, so it went ahead and ran and it populated that based on the files that are housing this particular database. What if you wanted to more closely integrate a form that you have in your application directly into Azure Data Studio? Well, you can do that. I'll show you a good example of that we use for our connections. First of all, connection form looks like this. So we have created this identical form, or just almost identical, within Azure Data Studio. To get to it, we're going to use the command palette. It's Control-Shift-P. Show connections dialog, eltSnap. Okay, all connections. So it's the very same form, but now it's integrated into Azure Data Studio. I can change something. I'll pick on this one since I'll go ahead and delete it. I want to edit that, and I'll give it a mythical provider name. Update that. Okay, it should have gone straight back to that. Or I could delete it if I no longer want it. So you've got all the same functionality back to that. So it's gone. This requires some JavaScript, some Node.js, but depending on how deeply that you want to integrate your application into Azure Data Studio, you've got really all the form handling that you might need. You have obviously reporting, you've got integration with Python, with PowerShell, with SQL. And so all the pieces that you would normally need with an application, you might find you could totally integrate your application into Azure Data Studio, make that now your front end, and distribute your application using extensions.